name is David Calvo. I am the Director of Family and Community Engagement at CABE, the California Association for Bilingual Education. Today with me, we have Dr. Lettie Ramírez, one of our board members, a longtime bilingual educator, author. I'm so excited to have you here. Tell us your bilingual education experience.
Thank you. Well, started as monolingual, started as only one language. I spoke Spanish growing up. I was born in Texas, but my parents took us to Mexico to learn English and Spanish. So I grew up in Mexico, in Ciudad Juárez. And then after 6th grade, my mom said, okay, ahora para el otro lado. So we came to El Paso. And as an ESL student, I know what students gone through because I went through it, not knowing the language, and I finally became bilingual.
How was that experience?
It was tough, although having the foundation of Spanish helped me a lot, because then I was able to transfer just like what we know from research, and that's how I think eventually led me to become a bilingual teacher and a professor, bilingual education.
Okay, so you were a bilingual teacher. When I became a teacher, I know my turning point of what caused me to become a teacher. What was your turning point? What was that moment that you said, this is what I need to do?
Bookkeeping.
So it was something different?
Well, my mother was a teacher in Mexico, and I knew that I did not want to be a teacher because I knew she was working all weekend. She was working grading papers, she was working report cards, and I knew it was a lot of work. So I knew that I did not want to be a teacher. Then after high school, I went into business administration. And then accounting was okay, but bookkeeping was like, this is boring. This is not my cup of tea. I like finances, I like money, I can deal with that. I thought engineering or teaching. So I went into teaching, and that was it.
So bilingual education teacher, was that elementary, middle, high? What grade did you do?
I started elementary, and then I went K through 8. Then my students, one time when I was teaching 2nd grade, they went to special ed in 3rd grade, and I said, no. They're bilinguals. They're not special ed material. That I knew that they were tested in English and that they weren't speaking English. So they were placed in special education for a wrong reason. So I went into, got my master's in special ed, became a diagnostician, went into psychology, and then that led me into the testing to work with students to prevent inappropriate referrals to special education. And then that led me to my doctorate in bilingual special education.
I didn't know that. That is so exciting. Okay, so you get your doctorate in bilingual special education. At what point do you realize I need to be training teachers because we gotta develop that future?
Well, once my master's, a professor told me, if you want to make more of a difference, the higher you go, the more of a difference you'll make. So I figure, okay, then I gotta go to the university and teach teachers to, instead of helping one classroom, I can help a school, a lot of teachers. So that's what led me to the university, and that's what led me to California. I started teaching first in Texas at Pan Am in South Texas, and then I finally got the position at the university at Cal State. It was Hayward at that time, and so we got that position, and was there for 30 years.
Okay, so I'm unpacking your testimonial here. We've done some education. I see some books in your hands. You're an author. Tell us more.
Well, then we got a grant. I like money. So
Everybody loves money.
I would go to grants. We had this big grant, 50 million, one of the big ones. So I had a lot of 5s, a lot of 2s and 1s, but the big one in Hayward to help the community. And I started working with the parents as they were identifying what their needs were. And after a couple of sessions, we started brainstorming what else they needed, and we came up with a list of things they needed. And I started getting presenters and we started sharing information. And after a year, they said, well, how can we share all this information? And I said, well, you go to conferences, you write articles, you can write books. And they said, okay, let's go. They rolled their sleeves and they said, let's write a book. I'm going like, oh my God. At that time I had 2 books and I'm going like, oh, I never thought I would be in the 3rd book. And it's like, okay, let's go for a book. So that's how No Estás Solo was born. Recetas para obtener éxito de padres para padres. So the parents wrote part of this book and the other ones were the presenters that presented and they all shared information. So that's how this came about, and the president wrote the foreword, and we have 50 chapters in Spanish, and then by the time it was translated into English, then we got a couple more chapters. So this one we had for deaf students, so we ended up with 52 in English. And so this won the International Book Award, and that's the story about these.
How many parents contributed?
They're a lot. You have a picture of them here. They contributed in different ways. Some wrote chapters, some edited, some put their influence into what they wanted to see and what they wanted information for other parents. And that's how it came about.
That sounds like such amazing work. Since I'm involved in the parent and family and community engagement piece, what are some of the ideas that came out? You said the parents came up with these ideas. So what did they have to say?
Well, it was very general at the beginning. We started with identifying how to support their children when they're born, the food, the importance of food, then reading to them, discipline. And eventually it went into the finances. Because they would come in with their Starbucks or their coffee that they would buy, and we started looking, it's like, okay, how much money is going into that? And then one lady goes, yeah, the credit cards, I can never pay it off. Okay, let's find out what's FICO scores, what is interest rates, what's compound interest. So all of that is here. And how to save for college, how to send your kids to college, how to apply, all of that is in here. So it's...
Wow, that just sounds such exciting work. So you're also on the CABE board. Tell us about that.
It's my 4th time around the block. We've shared a couple of positions. I've been in the parent side of it. I've been now in higher ed, and that has brought new ideas into supporting university professors into bringing their students into CABE, into just overall. With the undergraduate students, what happened with that was that as these parents, it changed their lives. So they started coming to the university, they became teachers. They went to community college and to the university. So then they would come to my office. And then the students at the university started saying, well, how come we have these parents here? And I say, hey, they're award-winning authors. They have their book. And they go, how come we don't have a book? I said, pues pónganse las pilas, get going. Brainstorm what you want and you guys can write your own book. So that's another legacy. By the way, these books are donated to CABE. They've had over $12,000 donations. Now this book is going into its 4th printing, and a lot more money is coming out to support parental engagement for CABE.
That's so exciting.
So, yeah.
Well, go ahead.
Sorry. So the students wrote their book. The students wrote You're Not Alone, except it's by students for students. It's the university edition. And then now we're just submitted for high school students.
Wow.
The teachers want a book for their high school students. And now the latest ones that we're right now, we have 2 more chapters that are coming in, but hopefully it will come more for undocumented students. That's the latest. So it's been a little bit over a trilogy of books that have been fun.
That's exciting. I know you've been on the CABE board for a while. Can you reflect when you think back when you first started working with CABE and where we've come?
Oh, we've come a long way. Gosh, I've been in education 40 years, so, and 30 here in California. So I was able to see our struggles with UNS, with 227, with, all the barriers of bilingual education. And now seeing how CABE has just, really expanded. We've had, the parents, the professional development, in Mexico, the work with Mexico. I remember when we first went to Tijuana, and they had students from the U.S. that weren't speaking Spanish, that their parents they were just sent to Mexico. So we worked with identifying. At that time, I was working with GLAD, and I said, well, they need GLAD in Spanish. So that's how that started there.
I didn't know that.
That's what it was. That gathering, and the students' testimonies was, yeah, my mom said we had to come to Mexico because we can't be in the United States anymore. So they're there, and the teachers did not speak English, and they didn't have any Spanish as a second language. So then we started working with them to identify those strategies.
Wow, that's just so amazing. I know we do some work in Mexico. Are there other places that you're particularly proud of that we do work in, CABE as an organization?
Oh, well, we've represented CABE all over. I know that, that Spain is here and Mexico is, I'm partial to Mexico because I worked a lot in Mexico. For 12 years, we had an exchange teacher program with Oaxaca. And then for 3 years, I was director of international programs in Guadalajara for all the California CSU's universities in Guadalajara that wanted to study to be bilingual teachers. Wow. So I would be with the students in Guadalajara, and they stayed for a year, and I would come back and forth once a month. But they stayed down there for a year, and that's life-changing. The international travel is always life-changing for the students.
It definitely sounds that way. So as we think about the future, what is your call to action? What do we still have to tackle? We've made a lot of progress, but there's still so much more to go.
Well, one step at a time. It's I'm looking forward to our next president, to Raul Maldonado, see what he's looking forward to bringing in. I know that Barbara in this year, she's brought, or her tenure here has brought a lot of the multilingual that we've had, the Mixteco, the Zapoteco, and I'm very happy with that. After working with Zapotecs, for 12 years, we lived with the families in Oaxaca. We work with the families, and it's wonderful. So I think that's definitely can be expanded. The languages, Asian languages, we're having more and more here, and I think it's wonderful. And the professional development also expanding, and the parents is always needed. So the Project to Inspire is it's a beautiful. I think that it should be everywhere.
I couldn't agree with you more. When we were at the Parent Center this morning, it was so exciting for me that one of the parents who shared his testimonial shared it in Mixteco, and he was just so proud of his language, and there were so proud people in the audience that were just so excited to hear that diversity of languages that we bring, that is just so valuable for our community at large.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts you'd like to share with our audience?
Welcome to CABE as your first CABE, and I think you will have a great impact, and it's a great opportunity for everybody to participate.
Thank you.
Thank you.